Incoming caller.
Hello.
Kushagra?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Yeah. Xavier sir is joined?
Yeah, he's joining in some time, ma'am.
He's
I just
joining.
called him. He's actually logging in.
Okay.
Hello, guys, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Audible.
guys, yeah, guys, can you please ask few of your other friends also to join because we have space until 100. So as of now, we are just 55. So if you can ask few of your classmates or somebody to join, that would be great. Yeah, can you please call up few of your friends and just tell them to join the meeting as well so that we have enough audience? I mean, although there's a YouTube streaming that is happening, so I would really appreciate if you could actually ask few of your close ones to just join the call. If few people can take initiatives, that would be great.
Kushagra, Mr. Xavier joined.
Uh, I think so. He'll be joining in a minute, ma'am. I think so. He's just
I'm
sitting.
here, Anita.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's already.
Okay, yeah. Xavier is there. Yes. Shall we wait for another 5 minutes to join other students?
I mean,
Let
Or
us
Xavier-
shall
give it
we
about,
start?
yeah,
This is up to
let us
Xavier.
give it about 5 minutes. I would
Yeah,
say.
we'll give it for a 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Exactly 12:05, we will start.
Xavier, sir, the problem with our college is the network is generally a little slow there inside the college. So Maybe that's the reason.
No,
they
the
might
students are
get
joining.
involved.
Already 75 students are in, and some of the department YouTube streaming also happening.
Fantastic.
So we're having a live streaming. Directly in the class.
Perfect.
Guys, we have room for another 15 to 16. So you can just call a few of your friends and just ask them to join the call. And that would be much easier for us.
Yeah, shall we
Hi,
start?
Kushan. Yeah, we
Xavier?
can start.
Yes, yes.
Let's
Very
get
good morning to one and all. This is Dr. Anita Rai, Dean, Library and Alumni Relations. We have today with us Mr. Xavier Francis, Associate Director from Simply Learn. He is going to talk on Unlearn to Relearn, the joy of continuous learning. He is going to cover half an hour to 45 minutes with the topic breaking the myth on learning stops at college. Very interesting topic. Why continuous learning is important. And also he is going to touch upon some stats on skill landscape changing. And also he is touching upon per month companies they represent. Second topic he is going to cover up learning as a hygiene. What are different ways to make it a habit? These are the topics he's going to talk in another half an hour to 45 minutes. Mr. Xavier Francis currently supporting Simply Learn's commercial business in India and have been in the edutech space for almost a decade now. He grew up in Coorg, Karnataka, but a typical Bangalorean. Now who eats masala dosa is very fond of masala dosa in his breakfast every day morning after his walk. And he loves making friends and meeting them besides watching. And also he is very fond of watching movies. On behalf of New Horizon College of Engineering, very warm welcome to Mr. Xavier Francis. Over to you, Xavier.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anita. Hello, everyone. Very good morning / good afternoon. Thank you so much. All of you have joined in on a Saturday afternoon, and all of you are live streaming this via YouTube. Great to e-meet you all. And Dr. Nita, thank you so much for the introduction. Nice cover.
I didn't give you much because you yourself said that you're going to talk about yourself too. So I didn't tell
Yes.
about anything much about you. Please, it is your forum. Our
Thanks
students,
so much.
I'm definitely expecting it is going to be a great learning in another 45 minutes.
I certainly hope so. I mean, I'm definitely going to enjoy speaking at this forum, but I also hope that people who have put in the time and effort to join here will be able to take away something from it. And if it is the case, then it is definitely worthwhile all of our time. Like Dr. Anita said, I really wish I could have masala dosa every day for breakfast. That is not the case. I try to whenever I can. So, uh, but yeah. Uh, I like you already heard, I work with Simply Learn. It's a tech firm. We provide digital skills to working professionals to enhance their career and bring them up to speed in the digital economy. That's what we do. I currently, in my role, support Simply Learn's commercial business in India. I manage some of our large strategic clients and partners to make their workforce transformation easier in terms of skills, right? So my involvement with education has been for the last decade. That is the time I've almost spent with Simply Learn as well. So I have been working with, in my initial days of my career, I've worked with a large amount of individuals to help them upskill and reskill uh, in their in their specific domains. And then eventually I've started interacting. Now I interact with learning and development and human resource functions of large companies to help identify skill gaps and create a plan and implement it for bridging those gaps in large workforces which are present globally and stuff. So that is what I do in a nutshell. On the personal side, I'm from Coorg, Karnataka. A lot of you people would have heard about it. I'm pretty sure most of you might have taken the time to even visit. It's a beautiful hill station, about a 250 kilometers drive from Bangalore. I grew up there. I studied there, and then but in the last decade or so, I've been here in Bangalore. I stay in HSR layout. Uh, and yeah, I'm a typical small town guy, not much of a traveler. So if you, even though I've been in Bangalore for quite some time, I haven't explored like a large part of Bangalore, and then I limit myself to usually the suburbs of HSR and Kormangla. That is, uh, yeah. And like you already heard, I enjoy making friends. I love spending my time talking to them, meeting them. So whenever I find time, I try to catch up with people of different sorts, and that also is a really huge uh, contributor to learning as well, right? I saw somebody raise their hand. Is there a question or?
Somebody raised, but I don't know.
Sure. And guys, I mean, feel free
We'll
to
take
drop
question
any.
at the end.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope everyone is audible. Go ahead, Mr.
Okay. All right. So like Dr. Anita mentioned, I mean, I'll be taking questions as much as I can towards the end of it. But even if you want to kind of keep popping in questions through chat, maybe we can take that up as well if you're not able to uh, interrupt or ask that otherwise. All right, I'll jump right in. So today's topic obviously is a very vast one. Uh, the joy of continuous learning, or continuous learning as a topic itself is a huge topic. I doubt if we can kind of bring all of that what we want to talk and discuss within 30 or 45 minutes, but then I'll do my best to kind of, I think it's basically what we are trying to achieve today is to give some head start in that direction, make uh, give some sort of direction, thinking in terms of continuous learning, what it is, understanding that a little more clearly, and then also look at some options of how we can do that, right? And then that might uh, that is exactly what we are trying to or hoping to cover today. So I'll quickly share my screen, and I have a I'm not much of a presentation guy usually, but then I do have a few slides that just so that we can kind of refer to that while we are at it, and then I'll continue to talk on those lines. I hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, Javier, it's actually visible.
All right. The joy of continuous learning, right? And I intentionally wanted the font to look very, very childish. Uh, and that is because that is one of the key things in terms of behavior that is relevant to this topic, right? It is extremely important for us to keep the child in us or the kid in us alive throughout our life if you want to be learning continuously, right? A lot of us kind of, when we grow up, kind of close ourselves to learning, and that is uh, the biggest problem. It is never, if you look at it, it is never the lack of resources to learn, or it is never the lack of avenues. It is only the mindset that, do I have the mindset to learn? Now, we'll talk about this at large, but then, yeah, I want the font itself to speak a lot about that uh, mindset change that is required. So that is intentional if you are thinking it's funny, right? Moving on, here is a quote that is a favorite one of mine, obviously because I'm in the upskilling space for so long now, right? Kind of just goes about talking about the importance of uh, learning again and learning every day and learning continuously. And uh, in the next slide, I'm just going to quickly cover in terms of an interesting picture, by the way. If you see the second one on your right, it just says, or it just portrays that, how you should be like a sponge that can absorb things that comes your way, right? And that is a great representation of learning continuously and forever. So the why, I mean, I don't think there needs to be a lot of supporting argument in terms of why you should be learning uh, continuously and why it is important, because it is you already know or have heard or are seeing how the dynamics of that space change every now and then, and how a lot of things that people have learned is or probably keeps turning irrelevant from time to time, right? Uh, Now, before I kind of go into some stats that in case somebody is not, convinced that should we really learn beyond college, I think before that, that is the biggest myth, or that is the biggest lie everybody has told. Each one of us probably have been told from the right from the childhood, right? And it has never stopped. So if you see, I come from a time when even in the seventh standard of my education, that was board exams, right? Public board exams. And my parents kept pushing me at that time that, your seventh standard is the most important one. If you do that, then life is a lot more easier, right? You put focus all your efforts and energies there. So that happened, and then eventually the 10th standard board exams caught up, and then people keep saying that, the 10th standard is the most important one. You do this, and then life is a lot more fun on the other side of it. When you go to college, you can do whatever you want, but then the 10th standard happens, and then the plus two or the second PU in Karnataka, as we call it, that comes in, and then again you face a board exam, and then so every now and then we've been told that we've been wired to think, and not anybody's fault, that uh, learning is a task, and then it is basically like a project that gets over at some point of time, and then after that, on the other side, you will basically reap the results of all you've done so far. That is what we've been told, and that is the typical mindset that we've all grown up with, right? And then the expectation obviously is that, when I put in so much of efforts right from my first standard, or even before that now, to all the next 10, 15, 20 years, life has to come to an end somewhere, but then it doesn't. That is the biggest myth, right? And then and that is one truth I want all of us to open up to, that it doesn't stop. I would rather say that for me, personally, as an individual, all of my learning has happened more uh, in the uh, in outside environment, not within the walls. And the moment I started working, the moment I met more people, the moment I faced new challenges at work, the more I interacted or more I took on new large clients, that is when my learning has happened. And it is happening even today. I've been working for about 10 years now. It has not stopped, and it doesn't look like it is going to stop. So yeah, personally, that is my experience, and I'm pretty sure it is not going to be very different for any of you when you go out there and start working, or if you ask some of your seniors and alumni of your college. Kushagra, I know he works with me in the same organization. You can talk to them and ask if it has changed for them. It doesn't, right? Uh, with that, I just want to kind of touch upon some stats as to why it's extremely important. It is not an option, right? It is not like is it just like something that you can opt to do after college? Not really. Uh, so yeah, I'll kind of let you probably glance through it. But if you look at some of these points here, a survey according to uh, the World Economic Forum says that what students of today are going to be doing in 2030 is not even being invented yet, as in the job roles. And while we can be creative and imagine, we can imagine a lot of scenarios as to what those future skills could look like. This has been true for every once in a few decades, if you see, right? Or maybe much faster now. Now, let's say 10 years ago, nobody had heard about a role called data scientist, maybe, right? Or maybe people haven't or probably never heard about terms like artificial intelligence or blockchain or Internet of Things, let's say a couple of decades ago. Absolutely nothing, right? So this is going to be continuous. And today, these are very key roles in some of the organizations. And these are some of the hottest skills in the market, to be honest. Right. I work, like I said, I work with a company that provides digital skills to individuals and organizations. So artificial intelligence and data science and blockchain are some of the hot skills that is sought after by both organizations and individuals today, right? While 10 years ago, nobody probably thought that might be the case. So with the same trend, in 2030, we don't even know what sort of roles, what job titles, what skills will make sense at that point, right? And if you really do a simple Google search, you will find some really amusing, interesting roles that people are, speculating uh, might be some of the cases like that, right? And if you see the second point, 94% of business leaders think or expect their employees to pick up new skills at the work, right? So this is a great support to what we were talking about earlier, that uh, it is not that an employer will employ somebody after you learn certain things in the college and your academic span, and then those skills are going to support you for life. The employer expects that these employees keep picking up new skills from time to time with the changing nature of the market or demand of the market, right? So it is going to be important. The number of gig workers is expected to rise to 17 million worldwide in 2023. That's this year, right? Now, if you haven't heard about this term, gig economy is a space where more and more skilled professionals are basically taking up jobs for specific time period instead of a full-time employment, right? So they're making they're doing project specific work, lending their specific skill set to that employer only for that span of time, and specifically to a certain project or this thing. So and then they're not a permanent employee, and they might be at the same time working or supporting multiple organization as a freelancer or as a gig employee, basically, to on different projects that is interesting to him or her, right? And what gives them the freedom to do that is having the right skill set at that point of time, which is sought after by different organizations, right? Now, if I had a skill that I learned over a period of time, and then that is the only skill I have, and if not upskill, that kind of cuts your wing eventually, and doesn't allow flexibility like this. Now, it is expected that the gig economy is going to keep expanding over the next few years, where people with the right skill set will employers will find them for a short span for a specific project, and multiple employers might be going after that individual. So it's at a very macro level, and the having the right skill set and continuously sharpening that skill and being relevant helps them or gives them the freedom to do that. If some point, you know, if that becomes the major thing, right? uh, Something that is every day to me, like, you know, these are things that we can read, and these are things that we can watch on television maybe, but uh, what I see every month in organization that I work with is that we have about 4,000 plus individuals who come on board, join on our platform to learn new skills, and 99% of our learners are working professionals. They are not students. They all have at some point been uh, graduated and hold engineering degree and whatnot, but then they are all working in some companies today, and then because of the nature of the courses that we offer, most of the learners come from a certain demography, like IT services companies, right? You know, you can imagine any big 5 6 names in the IT services space today, and uh, most of our learners are employed by these people, which again comes back and validates the point that your employer requires you to. It could either be because the employer is pushing it, or maybe that the individual himself or herself realizes that they see it from close up that the employer is moving in a certain direction and I need to be relevant, right? Some people are proactive, some people eventually have to do it anyway. So this is something that I see firsthand every month happening, and I've seen this number consistently growing over the years, and that's super validation for the fact that there is no option, right? That's how important it is. So yeah, that was basically my 2 cents on the why itself, right? I mean, why while I'm pretty sure most of these topics are things that you might have heard, you guys are aware of, you might be already talking, and I'm pretty sure why your alumni is, or the association has basically picked up this topic to be spoken about, because somebody's thinking in the right direction, and I really that's what I love about this, and that's why I was happily kind of able to be part of this as well, right? And we're talking about the right things, and when we pick this up and take something seriously and talk about it, I think all the revolution starts from there, right? This is great in that ways. uh, Moving on, I just then want to talk about the most important thing as to how uh, is it that, because I know the reaction when somebody is saying that, when you have put in 15 plus years of effort into academic space, and then if I tell you that it doesn't get over, rather it just probably gets started here, it's probably difficult to comprehend that, but it need not necessarily be uh, uh, let's say a burden, right? I mean, I think that is how over a period of time somehow we've all thought about learning, that this is something that I have to focus on for so many years, days, months, whatever, and then get this out of the way. It need not be that, right? And the beauty of it is that, again, this is personal experience, because I've been learning on the job for quite some time. What the beauty of learning on the job is that, or when you get into that and get your hands dirty and then learn, is that that everything you're learning is actually going to translate into something meaningful then and there. I mean, we are the generation of instant gratification, so you will see results, right? Because those are absolutely relevant things that you pick up, and because you select things that you want to learn, because you run into challenges, because you see that it is important at your work, because you see that's where the future of your work is going, right? So learning is not probably going to be all that boring when you do it on the job. Much more exciting, much more hands-on, and much more meaningful in terms of translating to results, right? So I want to quite kind of touch upon some of the things that I personally think of continuous learning, right? So first of all, like what we talked about, it is not a task. I don't think that it is something that you can just start and have a end date to. It's a habit, right? So you started brushing your teeth when you were old enough, and I don't think you're going to stop after a few years saying that, it is enough time, I've brushed my teeth, now let us stop it, right? Why? Because It's a hygiene, it is a habit that you've built, and it happens seamlessly. If you've noticed, nobody is probably waking up thinking that brushing your teeth today is the most biggest and tiring task for the day. You don't frown upon, hey, I have to brush my teeth now, right? Because you have been doing it enough, you have cultivated that as a habit very deeply, and it happens very effortlessly, and the result of it and the impact of it is quite significant, right? When you think about it. But if you see, it doesn't even feel like you do it every day, because that is how seamlessly it is blended. And that is what learning should be as well. Now, without without cautious efforts, or without we realizing, there is obviously a lot of grasping and observing and learning that happens, that we keep inculcating and implementing. Uh, and what I'm asking is basically to open up and can be more cautious to it, right? To be more receptive, and then uh, do it with a little more order, maybe. That is all that has to change, right? Going back to my first slide, right? What one of the key things, or the most important things, to be able to learn and do that and observe and be curious, be receptive, be open to guidance or feedback. If you look at it, the segment or demography of people who can do it the most effectively is the children, right? And that is why uh, I can't stress enough on how important it is to be a child lifelong at heart, because that allows you to be grounded. It allows you to be observant. You are always keen. You're noticing things. You're picking up things. You're curious. You're asking the right questions. More importantly, you're open to feedback and suggestions and guidance, right? Because that's what you see in children. That very interestingly keeps disappearing the more older we grow, the more experience we gain, the more higher we get into our careers. Is the most common mistake, or let's say that's where a lot of people lose their way in terms of not uh, being receptive after a certain point of time, and that impacts learning uh, largely. And then there is that, and there is only one person that is at loss, right? We. So I think that is a cautious effort we have to make to not lose the kid in us, right? And make it fun. It doesn't necessarily have to be. So when I'm saying learn always, am I asking you to? Probably not everybody is capable of reading a book every week, right? I am certainly not. I know a lot of people cannot do that. If you can, amazing. But there are so many today the technology is so uh, accomplished that today there are multiple avenues of how you could receive information, get the right kind of uh, data, or basically learn anything. There are multiple avenues, right? My favorite way of learning is podcast, and I'm a movie buff, so I am glued to my Netflix and all the OTTs, name it, I have it, to the television most of the time. And that I realized is my and to be honest, I've also noticed that a lot of people do not like sitting in front of television and watching stuff for a long time too. So there are all sorts of people. So find out what is the most easiest way for you to learn and receive, and just make that your channel, right? For me, it is podcasts, because it has always been easy for me to receive, and I can actually catch up on a 2 hour long podcast in one sitting and learn from it. So I realized over a period that is how I do it, and I enjoy doing like that. And then I don't force myself to go read a book instead, right? So don't force yourself to make it a hard job in itself. Try finding ways to make it a fun thing to do, and then keep at it. That is the easiest way to do it, right? And the most and the other important way how I have learned in my life, and this is for me personally a very very important thing in general, and then it is also something that I and my friends talk about pretty much every time we meet, right? And then I think there is this popular saying that show me who is your friend and I will tell you who you are. And I am extremely positive about that quote. I follow it both for me and for anybody that I make friends with, or anybody that I get introduced to, right? Uh, and there is also this popular quote that I've been a very big fan of late, that you are an average of the 5 people that you hang out with, right? This is the space. Peer-to-peer learning is the most seamless way of learning. People pick up a lot of things, habits, information, habits, both good and bad, from your closest of the circle, right? In your journey of life, both personally and professionally, I strongly recommend and urge that choose people who are going to be around you, surrounded around you, very carefully, cautiously, in a way that they add value, and where you are not the smartest person in the room, right? And again, there is another quote that says, if you are the smartest person in the room, then you are in the wrong room, right? Nothing wrong with hanging out with people who are less smarter, but then you should always push your limits to kind of make friends with, acquaintances with people who are smarter than you, know more than you, if you feel that, so that it is important, so that you can learn uh, very seamlessly in your day-to-day conversation interaction with them. And that, if you see, again, is effortless and could be a lot fun, right? I mean, for example, I today, just before getting into this meeting, I came back from a walk from the Agara Lake. I don't know how many of you stay around. Agara Lake is pretty large. I love my walks there. uh, and I make it a point that I usually accompany somebody who can add value. I usually do about 2 or 3 rounds of the park, but then we've had so many interesting conversations while we were at it today, right? And it was seamless, and it never felt like learning. It never felt like somebody was forcing something upon me. It was pure conversation that was meaningful and intelligent. So that is a super way of upskilling, continuously learning, ladies and gentlemen. And I would say that uh, everybody should choose that circle very carefully, in a way that it is productive and, uh, of course, fun. Nothing uh, without having fun, right? From there, again, this is my coverage on how can you make this a habit, how can you inculcate some of these things very effortlessly, and uh, do it without do it very seamlessly. That is what I wanted to touch upon here. Again, of course, I'll take questions, or if you have any specifics, we can talk about it, time permits. Uh, Moving on to my last slide, basically, how do we kind of, because I was asked to touch upon some of the resources where we can learn relevant things. If you want to take it up, see, if you're somebody who wants to take things a little more formally and in an organized manner, what are some of the avenues that we can go to, which are affordable or maybe free, and what are the functions of these different platforms? So I thought, I basically thought I'll list down some of the platforms that are my personal favorites, and some of them that I'm personally aware of a lot, to just showcase it to you. But of course, this is not the limit. Of course, that is why if you see the last image on the bottom says the World Wide Web itself, right? I mean, there is, if you use the internet wisely, I think there is enormous amount of free resources where you can learn uh, things of your choice, right? But if you take a look at some of these logos here, these are some platforms that are very effective in the way they organize their learning and the topics, and uh, the way it is kind of structured. I love that. And most of them have free content as well. I can particularly point out at Skill Up by Simply Learn, which is because it is something that I know firsthand. Again, this is our spin-off from our primary website, or the app, where all of our catalog is available for free in the self-learning format. So our traditional, or our paid version of training is the boot camp model, where you learn with an instructor and things. But minus the instructor, all the components of training, like the e-learning videos and the e-books and the assessments and projects and whatnot, can be used for absolutely free on Skill Up by Simply. You can do a search, you will find it. It's easy to a two-step process to log in, and you will find all of our courses, right from topics like data science to digital marketing to project management or agile methodologies, DevOps. If you're somebody who's interested in tech, you can go all the way up to and introduction courses, right? I mean, there is no harm in getting an introduction course to all of these topics. I mean, I personally made it a goal that I wanted to do an introduction course on data science, introduction on AI, introduction on agile, introduction on cybersecurity. They are very fundamental level programs where you can get a great strong sense of what these topics are, get some understanding or pick some terminologies, and sound smarter in those areas. And for all you know, when you get into the fundamentals of something, some areas might interest you in a way that I need to perceive much deeper intermediate or master level programs in these areas, and you can chase that with time, right? But yeah, I would recommend, if you're up for more structured learning, outcome based learning, then maybe use any of these uh, applications or websites, and each of them have unique catalog in terms of what they cover. It Skill Up by Simply Learn is focused heavily on digital skills, like I said earlier. Udemy has the entire world. It has a lot of things to learn from. Their catalog has a large coverage, from how to bring up a dog to how to become an AWS developer, for example. W3 Schools has a lot of coding related HTML and all those Adobe tools and things. That is what I've noticed that they have, and it is free as well. So similar with Coursera, they also have a lot of digital skills as well as some competitive exam stuff, a lot of things that they do as well. So take a look when you get a chance, and then see how you want to pick up or leverage some of these. But otherwise, like I said, make it a habit, make it fun, make it organic, so that it doesn't sound or it doesn't look hectic, right? Well, that was, I think that is basically what I wanted to touch upon. I think we are right on time. We might have some time for questions. While we take questions, I'll keep the slide running here, so that these are my coordinates. If somebody wants to continue to be in touch, write to me or ring me. I'll do my best to answer whatever I received. But yeah, you can make a note of this if you wanted to.
Thank you so much, Mr. Xavier. Very nice presentation given by you. I hope our students have definitely have taken so much input from you, how they have to keep continuously learning throughout their life. I ask any students, if you have any queries, please, you can ask, or you can put it in a chat box too.
Well, or Kushagra, I don't know. I'm sharing the screen, so I don't see the rest of the window. So if you have any questions on the chat box, do you want to read it out? I heard as of some chats where.
No, it was just to access Skill Up
Okay.
platform, and
No, nothing is there. I think, guys, you can ask any queries.
come on, guys, please. We have
Yes.
5 to 10 minutes. You can just shoot a few
Yes.
questions, and we'll be more than happy to answer it.
And all of you, please feedback form, so that it helps us to what you want exactly, and it helps us to do this kind of many more activities under the banner of Alumni Association.
I mean, not even a single person has a question.
Guys,
I think so. A lot of mechanical students have joined, I guess.
mechanical students? No, even see, that's what see and the thing. CS and EC is entire department is watching the YouTube actually. They can't ask any questions, right? So since they are in this thing.
No problem at all. And Kushagra, I mean, you have my coordinates if anybody has follow-up questions, people who are streaming in, feel free to, I mean, even if you want to kind of put some structure into.
Somebody has put the question. Somebody has typed it.
Yes. Let me read it
Yeah,
out.
someone has put that thing. During these times of recession, how should we skill up ourselves since we can't just focus on one thing? In my opinion, that's what he had put. His question. I think maybe
No,
what's your suggestion in this regard?
no, great question. And uh, while you're right, I mean, that is more our anxiety speaking, right? Should I learn and be a jack of all trades? Uh, but then the problem with that approach is that you won't be good at extremely good at anything, right? So yes, is there anything that is recession proof today? I don't think so. I mean, if you really look at what's happening around you, all sorts of job roles, you see there are job cuts and layoffs happening in all sorts of roles, right? And this is a phenomena that keeps happening. Like I said, the only way, and I personally interact as a part of my job with some of the largest organizations, learning and development functions, and this is their personal advice to me. One of the largest IT services companies, head of L&D was telling me that if I had friends or family members who were uh, passing out of college this year during this tough time, their personal they wanted me to personally recommend that they uh, keep at it, the learning part of it, right? uh, while some of you, while most of you might get placed and then start working and all of that is there, but then their recommendation was that if they find the market is slow, if they are stuck at some point, the only productive thing that they can do is continue to learn. And to your question specifically, pick up one thing that you want to be good at. And I really do not want to comment on what, right? I mean, that is totally a personal choice. I mean, from whatever you want to pursue to whatever is your interest or whatever you find scope in, but then pick up that one thing and then run after it. And of course, can you touch upon a lot of things and be aware of the world? Yes, totally. But can you master so many things? Very rarely, right? So I would say if you want to master something, then go deep into that. You can either go broad or you can go deep. You can't be both. That is my answer in short, right? So yeah, I don't want to stop you from uh, going as broad as you can and gathering information and being aware. That's something I do as well. But then I cannot be deep in many topics.
I hope Om Kumar Patra was clear, got a answer for his questions. Anybody else?
Yes, Om, you had, yeah.
Patra, you wanted to say something?
No, I was thanking you actually for the answer.
Yeah.
I was unable to speak earlier, so.
Okay. So just unmute yourself. Any students, please unmute and you can ask your questions.
Yes, guys, I think so. We're open for questions.
Yes.
We have another 5 minutes. I hope that's okay, Xavier, if you don't mind.
Xavier, on behalf of students, I have one question. If you do these kind of a certification courses, what percentage of importance will be given by the companies?
A lot, and that is continuously changing that space, doctor. So if you see, while it is still in its very nascent stages, some of the large organizations have already shifted their priorities in terms of looking at meaningful certifications or meaningful skills acquired by that person versus their traditional academic accomplishments, right? And that is changing as a mindset now, but I'm not saying it is there already. But then in jobs that are already there, I mean, where people are already working and established, the relevant certifications and relevant skills are a continuous ask. It is not just a part of getting a job or entering into a job anymore. It is
Okay.
more today. It is more relevant for the existing workforce
Okay.
because technologies that we have learned today might not be the same after 6 months of working in the company, because that company might be working for a client who's working on a different technology altogether, which we might not have learned in our academic career or in our training in the organization or whatever. So that is where people like Simply Learn, for example, where we continuously work with some of these companies to do a regular reskilling and upskilling exercise every once in a while. So that and that sometimes that is a hygiene, sometimes it is because from a certification and skill point, it is important for their business as well, because their clients are looking for it ultimately.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else? Okay. Shall we end this?
Yeah,
Thank
hi everyone.
Chetan. Yes, yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll just take a minute from alumni committee team.
Yeah.
Thanks, Xavier. Thanks for joining the call. It was amazing session. That was a good learning, I guess, like for the students. And so it would be helpful if you give your LinkedIn account details to the students so that like they'll keep you in touch over there. And pleasure
Absolutely.
having you. Yeah.
Sure. I thought about that as well. And
Yeah. LinkedIn would be a good platform to connect with you, is what I feel. And pleasure having you here. And Kushagra, thanks for having this session happening. It was amazing, good. And Anita ma'am, thank you so much for the support.
Thank you.
And students, everyone, thanks for joining the call. It was very good. I mean, like, it would be a good learning. I mean, if you have any questions, any quiz, you just please feel free to reach out to Xavier. He had given you the contact details as well, and he had given his LinkedIn account details. You can connect him over there. Yeah.
yeah, I just pinged the
Yes.
the link to my profile
That's
here
there in
on
the
the
chat.
chat.
Yes.
We got it. We got it.
Well,
Uh,
well,
thank
I
you.
personally wanted to thank all of you, especially the alumni committee. Kushagra, thank you so much for personally reaching out to me and giving me the opportunity. This is something that I personally enjoy and deeply care about.
I mean, I
And
should be very
I'm happy
thankful
to
for this.
and I'm happy to collaborate with you people. If you need me to step in at any point for any other causes like this, so I'm extremely happy to do that, and happy to keep in touch with anybody who gets back to me or with questions or just to stay in touch generally. So thanks so much. And Dr. Anita, thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
the coordination and sending out, and for the amazing poster where I looked a lot better than real life. So thanks, thanks so much. And with that, I'll hop off. Hope you
Yeah.
guys took
Yes, yes.
something away from this, and thank you so much, and have a great weekend,
Yes.
all of you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Xavier. It is really a wonderful session. Definitely, we would like to personally invite you to our college, face-to-face interaction with our students. It will be a great thing, and also we will be very happy to see you personally. And on behalf of New Horizon College of Engineering, my heartfelt thanks to you. You have given your time, that to Saturday. Thank you so much. Please visit our college. We are very happy to invite you to our college. And thank you so much, Kushagra, for your
Thank you.
coordination. And after a long time,
All
in
thanks
fact,
to
we are
Xavier.
waiting for this session past 3 months. I definitely, our students have taken something from this sessions. So I'm getting the messages also that it is, thank you, it was a great session. This is what we expect from our students. Even if they learn one thing in one day, that itself is a great. Any teacher expect from our students. That's what we expect from our students. Thank you so much. Thank you all students too for giving your time and hearing Mr. Xavier talk. I hope that you have definitely taken something today to your pocket. you will make use of this, what he has given to you today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alumni Committee. Thank you, Mr. Chetan, joining us. And once again, thank you to Mr. Xavier for your
A big
time
thank you. A big thank you.
and very useful talk on today. Thank you so much.
Most welcome, and look forward to all our future connects, either online or
Definitely. So I personally, in fact, I wanted to, we want you to come to college and face-to-face interaction. That will be a great impact on our students.
Sure, we will definitely plan that.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Bye.
Take care.
Great weekend to all of you.
Thank you, guys.
Chetan, can you stay back? Can you stay back?
Thank you, ma'am.
Chetan,
Thank you.
and ma'am, we can actually stay back and let
Yeah.
everyone leave so that we can have a discussion and wrap this.
Yes.
The rest of you guys can leave. And thank you guys again.